It's Ed in San Diego, and welcome back to Global TV Talk Show. Our special guest today is good friend Stephen Howard, author of 22 books, including the award-winning newest book. It's really amazing. It's not amazing that you're being awarded, but you've got all this energy and stuff. Welcome, Stephen.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's very pleased to have received the most recent award on the book. So thank you very much.
Okay, this is from the Nonfiction Association, right?
Yeah, Nonfiction Authors Association.
And they gave you a gold medal for leadership.
Yeah, and what's really amazing is I'm kind of over the moon about it, but they actually said that the book Human Leadership is a significant work with an important mission, and that's why I wrote it. I'm glad others are seeing it as an important mission.
So it's all about not managing, but leading, coaching, developing.
Yeah. I mean, the key premise of the book is quite forward that managing people, or the concept of managing people, is a 1980s construct. People don't want to be managed, much less micromanaged in today's world. They want to be led. They want to be motivated. They want to be empowered, trusted. Most importantly, they want to be given challenging assignments that enable them to grow both professionally and personally. So this is, in my mind, a better approach to leading people and also achieving results. This is not and forget about results. This is not wishy-washy. Let's just be nice to everybody. Let's have pizza parties on Friday. No, that's not leadership either. This is about motivating people, leading people, and achieving the desired results.
So, so many people are quitting, or have quit, or dropping out. And so, do you think they're going to find a new job someday, or?
I think they are. I mean, we have kind of this dichotomy going on in that, unemployment, I think the last week was announced like 3.4% or 3.5%. Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary, says, you can't have a recession when you've got, lowest unemployment in history. And a lot of things, others are, World Economic Forum, I think McKinsey as well, have all indicated faster growth this year than anticipated. Yet people are still quitting. 4 million people still quit their jobs in the United States in December. And if you want, I can share with your audience a little story. I think I'm seeing what's happening here.
Yes, share the story.
Well, a client of mine, I'm obviously not going to name names, but in the Midwest, they provide services to accounting professional firms. My client's pretty large, 550, 600 employees. In December, hired 2 new data entry clerks for their billing department. They were unemployed in December. They were hired in December. These 2 individuals joined the company in January. And here we are, first week of February, they've already both left the company.
Oh, my.
Yeah. So one left because she did not feel that she was onboarded properly, that the job was too routine. It wasn't explained to her fully, and it wasn't what she wanted to do. And the other left, and here's where I think Humany plays a key role now. The other left because on a Thursday night, her supervisor, who had just been promoted into supervisor position a couple months ago without any training, just here, you're in the new supervisor, deep into the pool, on a Thursday night, sent her a nasty email because she had made a mistake. Remember, this woman had only been on the job 2 or 3 weeks. She made a mistake, got blasted by email because that new supervisor, which is a longtime employee of the company, wasn't coming into the office on Friday. I was taking a personal day off. So decided to put her so-called manager hat, her bully boss hat on, fired off this email. And the next month, the lady resigned, 24 hours notice. She's still on probation. So they hired 2 people in December. They've lost 2 people in January, and now they have to go find new people in February. So this is what the numbers are. It's kind of like a tidal wave, I think, Ed, the ocean wave coming in. You're unemployed, now you're employed, now you're unemployed, and you're going to find another job. But people are not putting up with poor managerial practices. They're not putting up with poor behavior by their bosses. They will not be insulted by an email. And they said, you know what? There are 11 million jobs out there. I'll go find another one. And I think that kind of, to me, tells us why these numbers look so crazy.
Whoa, what a story. So Humany HUMONYleadership.com. Humany is a constructed word, and it's what, harmony and
Yeah, I created it. It was a brainstorm one night. It combines humanity, and harmony. And so I talk a lot about harmony in the workplace. And that little story illustrates that's a great. So many workplaces are like that. There's no harmony. And so I think there's two takeaways from that story. One, somebody who was a good employee, strong individual contributor, got moved up to a supervisor position. No training, no telling how to lead people, just do the job, focus on results. You hire new people, one doesn't get onboarded very well, doesn't understand the company, doesn't understand their colleagues, finds the job routine and boring, quits. The other one gets one nasty gram from that new supervisor who has not been trained very well and leaves as well. So companies are making a multitude, and they're continuing to make the same mistakes over and over because they're only focused on results, not the people impact of what they're doing.
Yeah. I need to do something. We're going to halt for just a second.
No problem. Just pause.
Okay, we're back. Thank you for hanging on there. So wouldn't it be, well, let me ask you a question. If I were that young woman, I don't know, I'd probably get fired for that, but I'd go to that manager's boss and saying, what's going on here? I'm not trained, get this stupid memo at night and not helpful at all. And in fact, I'm hurt by it.
Yeah, she did because her supervisor was not in on Friday. So she handed in her resignation to the supervisor's boss, who's the department head. And he runs 3 or 4 different departments. And so it was a shock to him. And as I was talking with him and saying, well, first step, even before you go hire the 2 new people that you need, and now you're going to be shorthanded in that department, you and your boss, a more senior person, need to start putting a development plan together for this supervisor. She needs coaching. It's not really her fault. I mean, she did what she thought was appropriate. I'm sure to her, it didn't sound like that bad of a nasty gram. Maybe she was trying to just emphasize how important the situation was, or how critical it was that mistakes aren't made, or that mistakes are brought to someone's attention. I haven't read the actual message. I'm sure she did what she thought was the right thing. But a few years ago, that might have worked. A few years ago, people would have said, well, I'll take the slap on the hand, the slap at the back of the head, and I'll stay with my job. Now people are saying, you know what? Life is too short. Life is too short. Ideals amigo. There are 11 million jobs out there. I'm sure in our little town or big town, wherever they happen to be located, I'm sure I can find another job pretty quickly. And boom, that's it. They're not going to put up with that kind of an attitude anymore. But the point is, they need to be trained. You can't really blame the supervisor, because it's kind of like you become a new parent and you've never had any parenting experience. No one's ever talked to you. You've never read a book about parenting, and you do what your mom and dad did, or your stepmom and stepdad did, or whatever the situation happens to be. For better or worse, you did it like them. Well, I'm sure she's done it like some of her previous bosses in the past, and it backfired. But I just saying that I think that's the world we live in today, right now, and particularly in the United States. Although I did read information, I'll just share with you real quickly, that in Europe, McKinsey researched 16,000 people back in December, so just 2 months ago, and 1/3 say they expect to quit their jobs in the first 3 to 6 months of 2023. And they cited things like lack of career development, lack of advancement, uncaring and uninspiring leaders as the reasons for that. So this is a global phenomenon. It's just not the US.
And people are confident enough that they're going to go find a position.
Because there are other jobs out there. Like I said,
Right.
in the United States, there's 11 million jobs available. So basically, we've got a mutual good friend, and he has a phrase, Steve Canigan, and he always talks about the war for talent is over and talent has won. Well, absolutely. I mean, if somebody sent me that nasty gram, you know what? I can find another job within 2 weeks. And, assuming my life situation or family situation is I can go without a salary for 2 weeks, or pick up unemployment for 2 weeks, as the case might be. Why put up with it? Life is too short. There are better things to do.
Okay, so now how are you welcomed by your corporate clients with this as a book award winner and the message, not just the idea that you won an award, but uh, it gives you more gravitas, I guess, right?
Yeah, I think the award certainly helps. I think the message is getting across. It's not, the message is not about you have to stop and completely change everything you're doing. The message is, look, there are many of these skills that some people have been using for many years, emotional intelligence, resiliency, adaptability, um, communicating as a leader, that they just have to put a re-emphasis on that. So again, it's not about not worrying about results, not about not worrying about profits. It's about putting people first and understanding that employees, you have to start thinking it's a mindset change. Employees are more than just a means to an end. When we only think it, and again, we think about them as employees. So one of my big messages is, and that's the reason for the title of the book, is you don't have team members, you don't have staff, you don't have workers, you don't have employees. You are leading human beings. Human beings have, first of all, they have responsibilities outside work. We've talked about years ago work-life balance, and it was kind of, we understand employees have a life outside work, but as long as they get their work done first, they're free to enjoy their work. And if they have to work overtime or on weekends, well, the job comes first, and it's up to them to figure out how to balance that. Well, no, the pandemic has shown us that employees have responsibilities outside the workplace, whether it's caring for elderly parents, their children's education, they're coaching a sports team, which is important. These are responsibilities that they've taken on themselves. They've volunteered. These are equally important to them as the responsibilities as work. So we need to find out how to harmonize, have work-life harmony, and harmonize their responsibilities outside work with their responsibilities in the job.
So what we're talking about here, from my take, is that the role of HR, we'll just call it HR, or managing people function, not managing people, but the function and all the stuff that goes with it. That's what needs to be innovated, is that there has to be some kind of combination of a culture of well-being as a master goal in an organization, and derivative of that, or sprinkling down from that cloud, is engagement one-on-one on a regular basis from a helpful attitude rather than an accusational approach, but sharing how we're going to get this person better developed to do more productive things for the company. And it's all customer centric. Who's the customer? And so let's say I was reporting to you, doing something, and so I need to be taught or informed and coached on how to do my thing better, so that I could self-actualize my own capabilities, because it's a win-win. If I do, the company benefits, the boss looks good because the report me is doing better, and the customer, that's the whole thing. The customer is getting better treatment from me.
Yeah, and also, that customer could be an internal customer as well as the external customer. The other part I would add to that, Ed, is helping people understand the context of why they're doing a certain job and how it benefits their colleagues or benefits the company. I was coaching somebody the other day, and their department has to do with they do the cash management for their company. And it's a lot of routine. It's a lot of chasing for payments, accounts receivable, managing the cash, and what have you. And I said to them, do your people know how this benefits the organization? He said, no. I said, well, you need to sit down. For instance, I happen to know other more senior people in that organization, and they were able to get a new office location in a particular city that they want to move their office to from one city to another city. They were able to get a great deal because they offered the landlord a year payment in advance. Now, this company has cash because of this cash receivables operation is so efficient. They're sitting on some cash, so they could either invest the cash in some new stuff, or they got a great deal on this office space that they needed in a very beautiful building right across the street from their main customer.
Oh, sure.
So, but the people doing with their heads down every day, putting data in the computer and calling people and trying to track money and making sure deposits are in and all this cash management stuff, to them, their focus is just about, I'll make up the number. Last month we had 1.3 million cash. This month we have 1.1. Next month, hey, we're growing at 1.2, and that's all they look at. That's not the benefit to the company. The benefit to the company was they had their colleagues in another city now has a perfect office, much more benefits, things like free parking and all the benefits, but they have benefited the company and benefit the staff. And that's what I'm saying. People need to know the context of the value that they're bringing to the company. You're correct, whether that value is to the customer, or in this case, the value they actually bring is to the internal customers, to their colleagues, their peers. So that's also required today.
Well, you know what? This story about cash management is making me more inclined to jump off this call and go collect some money because I need it.
You need it, absolutely. Well, hey, guys out there, hey, anybody else had money, send them some money. Use PayPal, use Venmo. Don't send them a check. Put it in his bank account.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so there's no recession. Well, there is for some people, but
I think there is for some. I don't see personally. I'm not an economist. I don't see the U.S. technically going into a recession. As and many of your audience knows, I live in Mexico City most of the time. Mexico, we're seeing higher growth rates. Again, parts of Mexico are going to be impacted, but we're also seeing huge investment in Mexico, but from both Asia and from the United States and from Canada. And so I don't see Mexico slipping into recession either. So, again, who knows? All we need is another silly war in a part of the world to interfere is the word I'm looking for. Sorry, folks, interfere with supply chains or something of that nature, or a weather balloon flying across a nuclear site that causes controversy. But other than some weird stuff, I don't think we're in a recession. I think I was in California last weekend. The restaurants I went to were full. The gasoline stations I passed were busy. I went into one or two stores. They not as busy as normal, but then I tend to shop at 1 o'clock in the afternoon when people are working. So, I don't see a recession personally.
So as we come near a close to this thing here, would you mind holding up the cover of the book?
Oh, I might just have a copy nearby.
Okay, you could raise it up just a little bit towards the camera. And so there's an image of a two-headed person. What's that about?
It's about we need to connect. We need to connect mentally. We need to connect emotionally. I mean, one of the key things I talk about in the book is the need for empathy by leaders. And, empathy is not feeling sad for somebody. It's not feeling, oh, I understand they're in a difficult situation. I hope they pull it out. Empathy is finding a point of understanding about the other person, non-judgmentally, and saying, okay, like I said before, all right, this person has elderly parents. Before we would have judged them and say, well, why can't you get someone else to look at them? Why can't you pay a caregiver? Saying, okay, I understand that. If they need to take, from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock to take care of their parents and make sure their elderly parents are fed properly or whatever the needs happen to be, I'm fine with that. I'm not going to judge them that they're putting their parents before work. They're getting their job done. I appreciate that. So that's empathy, is reaching that point of understanding, and that will lead to a harmonized workplace. We understood each other a little bit better. It's human. It is human. Well, one of the things I say in the book which is a little controversial, but I said, managers or leaders, I say leaders need to unlearn management. And I usually pause and people look at me like, what? And I said, no, you need to unlearn management. You need to relearn to be human. And most important, you need to learn to become people-centric.
So let me ask you a question and it's okay if you don't want to get into it. Okay, the audience, the show's not rehearsed, just so you know. This is a live documentary with Stephen Howard, author of 22 books. So from a management of HR, not HR managing people, but management, let's say I'm a C-suite and HR is under my purview here. And is there an app that could be developed for the purposes of engaging and communicating with employees under the span of control of the particular group? Or I don't even know what the right words are, but an app that the employees who are in some kind of a constant upskill, reskill, training and development, so that they could serve the customers better. And if they do that, that serves the company better. Is there a way to communicate that activity through an app so the manager or the leader, corporate manager, people leader, ex-manager, they know how to use that app, and the employee, let's say me, I'm taught how to use that app, and so there's a measurement of every little thing, and there's direct, constant feedback without the stress of in-person rebuke or fear or insecurity or whatever. And there's a way of communicating using data and technology, all within a people communications enterprise kind of thing.
There are a couple apps, but they're one directional. They're communicating to the employee, and it's kind of like, some people call it micro learning. We send out little reminders like, hey, don't forget to do this, don't forget to upsell here, don't forget to do this, but then there's quizzes in there, and then the quizzes are scored, and if they miss something, they get sent to someplace else to remember, which is all well and good, but it's not coaching. And they get, HR or their managers will know what their score is. So there is that insecurity, like they're constantly being monitored. And here's one of the weaknesses of those apps. When a mistake is made, their employees can't put something into the app and share it to somebody else, so that you get this group learning, which is all part of the right environment, the
and
psychologically
feeling a sense of belonging.
Exactly. Right? So no, it's one directional, and it's just another form of micromanaging people, and constantly reminding them. And the other thing is sometimes those reminders, some apps, the reminders just pop up. Well, somebody's focusing on something, and I get this reminder, and it's like, it interrupts me. It should be more like, if I want the reminder, I should ask for it. So again, it's not, I don't think they're working the right direction, at least not the ones I've tested, the ones I've worked with.
No, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it goes to the concept, though. I'll quickly summarize, is that, do you want to manage talent, or do you want to develop talent? Those apps are trying to manage talent.
Yeah.
I'm saying, again, you can't manage people. Managing talent is the wrong idea. What you want to do is unleash talent. You want to inspire talent. You want to motivate talent. Find an app that will do that, or buy the book, because the book will show you how.
That's HUMONYleadership. And you have a site, HUMONY, HUMONY, leadership.com. I've been on that site. It's really nicely done.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you.
Thanks for being on Global TV Talk Show.
My pleasure. Good to talk with you as always.
And thank you for signing up to participate in these mastermind series I'm doing around the world.
I'm looking forward to that. I think I'll learn a lot more than I can contribute, but I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's all showbiz, isn't it? Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you.